Hey, welcome to HYPERPUNK by Qbomb, the Pretentious edition. I am Izzy Deluxe.
And I am Rem. Just Rem.
Just Rem. We are here to comment over these songs and make them unlistenable to everybody. This is the first track on the album. Fun fact, first song ever written. Came up with it in the shower. I think pretty much every song I came up with in the shower.
Yeah, it's not the first one that we thought about. The first idea was actually Trashbot, or build a giant robot out of trash. That was sort of like the impetus for the band itself. We wanted to, I guess, start somewhere with giant robots, and I don't know, we just sort of like pitched that idea to each other and sort of went with it.
This is, there's a fun little Easter egg that I think nobody has yet to catch on with this song, but I'll reveal it, is that every time a new instrument comes in, the first word of that line introduces that instrument.
How could people not have caught that?
Nobody's caught it.
Everybody's being, well, not everybody, but we had a bunch of people get like real, sleuthy about this, and yeah, it's weird that that one hasn't come up. I figured it's because it's just so obvious, but maybe not. Maybe that's really, Galaxy Brain stuff.
I don't know. But yeah, it's an intro track. I wanted to write it as something that we could play in the beginning of shows and really get the crowd pumped. And I think it's pretty effective in that way.
Yeah, I think that worked out.
All right. That's Buzzkiller, everybody. On to the next one. Here we go! All right. Oh, shit, it's Poison Pop. All right. Fun fact about this song, we came up with the music video before we had the song.
That's true, that's true. You were pushing baseball stuff forever.
Yep.
And I, like a heathen, didn't quite buy in. But you won me over. This is a banger. And the video came out great, and you did a great job. And so did Allie and Josh.
Yeah, our directors are amazing. Ari Atomic suggested that we do a video where we wear baseball uniforms. That was it. And I said, got it. And then wrote a whole song basically with Rem to match the music video that I came up with in my head. And I think it came out really well. Really proud of that. Another fun thing is that I was really listening to a lot of K-pop when I was writing this, and nobody would ever catch that. But in the way that it's structured, it's very like everybody gets a turn. We get a melancholy bridge where we get passionate. Like it makes sense to me, but nobody else would ever pick up on that, I think.
Yeah, it's hidden in there, but if you come at it with that in mind, I think people would kind of get it. It does have that sort of idea to it.
It's a K-punk song. That's what I kept pitching it as, is that what if there was what if somebody did a K-punk song? And the video also reflected that. It's very over the top. Written about a real dark time in my life, really dealing with a lot of emotions.
I think the only thing that would have pushed the K-pop a little bit further, in my opinion, would be like if we really got like the boy band DNA in there a bit more.
Oh yeah.
Have like a full verse for each person who sings in it, and have it be like almost an entirely different tone, and then like converge on something where everybody's singing at the same time.
I was trying to do that. I feel like that was like the intention. But yeah, everything that I push for is like a silly idea that ultimately gets filtered through the Qbomb, sound, and so we end up with interesting stuff that still feels cohesive, I think.
Yeah.
But what else can I say about Poison Pop? It's a really fun one to play live.
I'll say my parts in this. I'm pretty sure I ad-libbed just because I couldn't get the line right. Like, I had it in my head that it was something completely different, and I think you just finally gave up on it and just said, like, fuck it, that's what it is. That's what it is now. Good job.
That's how we do things. We just bully each other through incompetence to...
Yeah, I guess you got that line right. Fine. It's fine. It's fine. Moving on.
Yeah. We like to stretch this part out as long as humanly possible every time we play it.
Yeah, this one actually had a little bit of back and forth with the label on their notes and everything. Like, I feel like we didn't compromise a whole lot, but some of these parts like would extend a little bit further than they do.
Yes.
So if you ever catch us live, you're going to catch a different version of this song. A few of the songs actually have that going on.
Yeah. Well, that's Poison Pop. It's a bop. It's a banger. It starts off the album, and I think it really establishes the sound for the rest of the album. It's a good example of what we do. Ooh, it's Everything's Fine, our first single.
Yeah, this is one of the first ones that we wrote in the room, like as a band. When we solidified the lineup, we got all the people that we wanted on in the group, and yeah, we just sort of had a day that we set aside to write and couldn't get anything, and then came up with that little intro, the chromatic just da na 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 of the intro, and wrote everything from there. And
it's I like it because we came at it with a very simple idea of, what the song title is. That the idea that everything's fine and you're gonna sort of pull blinds over your eyes to not notice the bad stuff. But everybody had a different take on that, and that was great. Like, what would you say your verse kind of captures?
Just like I was working retail at the time, and the idea that even if there's an emergency going on, you need to treat it like there's nothing. They would tell you, like, even if there's like a robbery, you just say like, yeah, sure, take the money and go. And like, this is a problem. You should be having a reaction to what's going on. You can't just smile through the pain through everything. So yeah, that was my take.
My verse, I had discovered through beginning therapy that I have anxiety, and that's exactly what this verse is about. I wanted to capture the feeling that I have of the catastrophizing and the thoughts bouncing through my head that makes me feel anxious. And I wrote a version of it that I wrote my verse first, then Rem wrote his, and I loved Rem's verse, and it made me mad. So I rewrote mine and made it better. But I love that. I think that's a great dynamic. And the thing that I think is fun about this is that I knew that I would run out of breath by the end of this fast rap, and I wrote the breaths into this part because I knew I would need them performing it live. But it makes it great. Like, it's such a great finale. It's just sometimes writing with those kinds of considerations and like coming up with limitations makes it
letting the actual limitations of singing be part of the song, and that I appreciate that. I think a lot of people like lends in on that.
And now this is the first part that Jordy ever wrote for Qbomb. I had asked her to do something kind of like in All Alone by Gorillaz, with like that shift of vibe in the bridge with the female vocalist. And Jordy said that she wanted to do something kind of lounge singery. And once she decided to repeat the "oh no's" as like the internal monologue of someone who wasn't being honest, and the repercussions. And I actually didn't have any part to sing here for a little while, and then it eventually felt like we needed a call and response. But it's a nice break in the song. It really helps tie it together. But yeah, it was our first music video, made on a shoestring budget. We faked having a big crowd with I think it was 12 people at the biggest. Incredibly hot room.
Oh yeah, a lot of low angles, a lot of make it feel bigger than it is, and the idea for my part of it was like a bunch of people touching me, and I'm super uncomfortable with that. I'm not a toucher. And it wasn't so bad. I was surprisingly okay with what was happening.
Yeah, you faced your anxiety.
I know, it was great.
And isn't that what Everything's Fine is all about?
Everything was fine.
Everything's fine, everybody. Everything is fine. Insania is the third song I think that we wrote. It was on the first Impact EP. It was sort of a demo that we put out. Just 3 songs that we wrote for the Nickapalooza, the Nickelodeon talent show.
From the era where we would write in a little program called Musaji, whatever. A little nothing program by a guy who went by Dr. Petter.
God bless Dr. Petter.
Yeah, it's a fantastic little program if you're trying to learn things and really, really want to relearn a different program later.
Yeah, that's...
But the chiptune vibe to it is definitely a holdover from that. And we really like the idea that, chiptune mixed with an actual band stuff, like Anamanaguchi style, but not quite as upbeat as Anamanaguchi ever was.
Yeah. Definitely pretty obvious that the song is about the creative process itself. And that's something that the chorus was probably the first thing that I came up with for the song. and it something that I think about a lot. A problematic take, and I think that's reflected in the song itself.
Yeah, I really appreciated that about this song, because like when we were first writing it and like workshopping it and getting it to the point where it's at, some of the takes, like, it really doesn't feel right to be telling people like, it's good, try and be crazy, and it feels insensitive and wrong. But like, that's the narrative that goes on in your head, like that the whole like tortured genius thing is so. It is so kind of sexy, It
is. Well, yeah, and I think this was my first exercise in like really letting go of that inhibitor of worrying about what other people are gonna think when you write songs, because that defeats the whole point of writing music if you're worried about what other people are gonna think. And I think it's obnoxious when people judge somebody's character based on a song they wrote, because it's supposed to be about exploring those like kind of messed up feelings.
Yeah, and it's not like we're telling you, go do everything you can to be insane. It's more like this is an expression of that feeling in you, and you can be conflicted on that.
Yeah.
And you should be okay with like addressing those feelings and not suppress them, because if you don't address them, then it just festers into something even worse. So I guess that's part of what the song is about. And I don't know, a little bit of a cope of like seeing those situations where somebody has that evil in them. Pay attention to the bass line coming up right here. It's just so, I don't know, it's one of the things I'm most proud of with the band.
It's very good.
It's right here.
It's very good, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I am a wrist-breaking bass player. I get bored. I need to do something, and this was one of the times where I got to really like let loose. So I'm proud of it.
The note from the label for this part was "make it sound worse." So here you go. You're welcome.
This is Soften the Grave. This is one that I kind of took point on, and of course Izzy had some input on it and some like edits, but
and I help.
Yeah. This is one that I mean, you can tell it's a little bit more emotional, but it's kind of like upbeat in the music. It was a cope for some friends of mine that passed away young, unexpected, within about a 6-month period, and I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of a grieving process for them.
Yeah. Well, it is probably our most Pillows-inspired song, too, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's another bass line that I'm really proud of with this, and I think because I took point on it, I was able to kind of be indulgent with it. It makes no sense as far as, like, general song structure, but because it's the focal point, you're able to kind of be a little bit more flourishy with it.
We wrote a disco punk song.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I feel like we do that a lot. We find a genre and then just put a nice coat of punk paint over it.
Yeah, we were just talking about this not too long ago, that like because of the limitations of the program that we started in Musagi, there are certain things that we don't have access to, especially with drums. There's chip drums, and then there's the drum kit that was installed in it, which was really, really bad. So we were kind of stuck with just snare, bass, and hi-hats. And that kind of forced us to be a little bit disco-y with the rhythm. Like, we couldn't focus on, like, the expression and the voicing of the drums itself.
Yeah. Yeah, there's... I think that if you really dig into the, like, writing of hyperpunk as a whole, it's very... I mean, they're complicated arrangements, but they're actually kind of minimalist because we were just dealing with very... We never got bogged down by like tone or anything like that, because we wrote everything in the chiptuniest of chiptunes, and so you really kind of nail down a melody before you even get into any of the like messy tone production stuff, which I think helps me. I think it cuts to the core of what works about the songs.
Yeah, like if you're too bogged down on how something's gonna sound, then you're gonna be sitting there tone chasing forever, and that's a bad place to be, because there's people who spend their entire career only focusing on that, and I think it's better to just find somebody who knows a good tone and ask them to help you out, because if you try to do it yourself, it's going to cost you a lot of money, it's going to take you a lot of time, there's all this expertise that you need to kind of like get bogged down in, and that's kind of pretentious in my opinion.
Well, that's this edition, Rem, so...
Yeah, so the tones,
The tones.
We call it grind bass, and we just wanted it to sound like a chainsaw, and I think we got close to that.
Yep. Soften the Grave, everybody. Oh shit, it spilled the robot out trash! This is a fun one.
Yeah, our recycling anthem.
Basically, yeah. God, yeah. This is the first song that we concepted out, and I think it captures the aesthetic of Qbomb very well.
Yeah, my initial idea for this is I wanted to be much more Motormouth, much more just like spewing out random stuff, very glossolalia, and just, say shit about building a robot out of literal garbage and be less like of a song, more of like a punk-inspired thing, a Dead Kennedy style. Just Motormouth and keep going and talk about batteries and trash and stuff.
Yeah.
And I like where it ended up, but I still
great.
kind of think I want to try and write something like that later.
Sure. I think that it's probably the first very like visual song, and then there's others that came later, but very theatrical in a lot of ways too. And there was a whole chunk in the beginning that was written that we cut because it didn't add anything. Like it needed to start with that aggressive first verse, but that still exists in our minds, in our hearts.
Yeah, maybe someday. I don't know. Maybe the chiptune, like the old archives, could have something like that, and we'll figure out a way to share that. But
yeah, it's a lost,
I don't know.
A lost version of the song. This one's a lot of fun to play live. People go ballistic. I think it's become a fan favorite, I would say.
I would hope so. I think our first performance of this song was just so botched. Like, people talked about it, and they loved the concept, but, like, gosh, looking at that first performance, it's so rough.
That's on our YouTube.
Yeah,
if you look up, if you go to our Qbomb channel and look up Nookapalooza, you can see the literal first ever show we ever played. And it's Buzzkiller, Trashbot, and Insania.
Yeah, different lineup, too.
Totally different lineup. And that's how you build a robot out of trash! Million AD. An epic of robotic adventures. We have with us Jake Izzy, who helped us put this together. Jake, say some words for the
Yo,
people.
what's up? Jake Izzy here. You're listening to MAD. That's the acronym for Million AD, a song that was brought to me by Izzy Deluxe, with the challenge of writing a multi-part prog-style epic in the style of Qbomb, and I think we succeeded here.
I think so. Yeah, I wanted...
It's the longest song on the album, right?
By far. I think the challenge was writing like a rhapsody. I really wanted to do something where we didn't really repeat parts too much, and boy, did we do it.
That includes time signatures, tempo. The song switches up about 3 times in just distinct sections, but even within those sections, there's a lot of variability.
Yeah. The way we wrote this was Jake had just delivered a few different, like, tiny little snippets of songs, and one of them was that core beat that's happening in the beginning. And
yeah, I was messing around with a particular synthesizer, and it had an arpeggiated, crunching, robotic sound, and it really was the base of the song. It was the what everything was built around initially.
Yeah. I was actually originally inspired. I wanted to write a song that felt like what this evokes, which is just like an ancient robot waking up in an overgrown forest. And there's a little snippet in the beginning of Gorillaz' Busted in Blue that inspired me in that direction.
Oh yeah, that sort of airy instrumental kind of like field recording. And I remember having a lot of fun putting together the intro to the song and building in the layers of it. And I feel like even though the narrative sort of came after, it sort of wove its way back into the music because the vocal arrangements and everything sort of helped tell the story that you were just describing.
Yeah.
I just had a lot of fun writing this as apocalyptic as possible, like stretching the how deadly can you put in like lyrics.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to
you did
try
a
and
great
do.
job.
Yeah, you went
Yeah,
off.
I love your interplay. The sort of angel devil shoulders of this unnamed
It
robot.
can be your angel or your devil. That's kind of the thesis of this song, really. But yeah, it was
About rejecting your programming.
rejecting your programming, finding your purpose. Yeah, Rem went off on this part. This is probably one of my favorite parts on the album.
Yeah.
This was recorded in Jordi Lala's abandoned house during the peak of lockdown in 2020. with mediocre mic setup in a living room, and I think it sounds pretty good despite all that.
Yeah, joy of all the vocal effects
I
on this. We were able to kind of mask the bad recording session with like a bunch of robot sounds and stuff. It's fun.
Well, full disclosure, I never thought we were going to play this song all the way through live at any point.
Oh no.
It was written, to be unplayable. I mean, it's so complicated, but actually the band we rehearsed it for live performance. We eventually came around, and it sounds kind of effortless now.
Yeah.
But it took so much effort together. I'm just really proud of everyone for bringing that together for the live performances.
It's really fun to play. And now I really like playing it now, and it's hard because it's like almost a 6-minute song when all is said and done, especially live.
You're not going to fit it in every
exactly.
set.
It has to be like a 45-minute and up set to justify playing this. But it's great. By the end, like this part, it just goes off. It's so much fun.
Yeah, we had a slow down of tempo right before this, and then we're starting from nothing and going up to, I think, about like 157 BPM. So it's really hard to get all the parts synchronized, but that's what I love about this song, is that it's many parts creating a really interesting whole.
Shout out to Gamma Sam, who had to figure out how to play this shit on drums. Shout out to Jake for writing this.
I
mean, shout out to everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Minor Apocalypse.
Minor Apocalypse.
Minor Apocalypse. So, first off, dumb pun in the name.
Yeah.
It's in A minor.
Yeah.
It's a minor apocalypse. In case you didn't get that, we're talking about being pretentious here, so I figured I'd explain the dumb joke.
We're doing great.
It's so good. We're so great.
So fucking awesome.
Man.
Can you talk about how great we are?
Yeah, we could do that. This bass line, I think I wrote this in the practice room. It's very similar to Dire Break, but I don't know. It's a bigger build. Don't tell them that.
Very different. It's totally different.
It's totally different. The big inspiration for this one was 6-Shooter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We wanted to write something short and sweet and quick and to the pointless, as it were.
Yeah. Another one. Another inspiration.
And the other inspiration for this was writing a writing exercise that I posited to like have 3 statements that like have increasing levels of like apocalypticness. I lost my keys, I lost my job, everybody died, like the entire world ended. So that's where this is coming from.
Yeah. This one is murder on my vocals, but I think anybody listening to that can tell. Really, really pulled that out of the depths of my soul. But it's fun. It's fun to play. I just I have nothing left by the end.
Yeah, it's these screaming sections, which again, when it's live, it's a different experience because you have me and Jordy like really like meeting you where you're at with that and trying to like harmonize and just do weird shit with it every time. Yeah. So it's fun for us. The band loves it. Izzy hates it.
I hate it. No, I like it a lot. It's a good one. It is also one of probably that and Trashbot are our actual like punk songs. Everything else is hardly punk. But
big asterisk on punk.
Yeah.
With us.
Love this Motorhead. Oh, and then this goes right into Dire Break. Dire Break. Song written in part with Jordy Lala, who we have here with us. Say hello, Jordy.
Oh my gosh. Hello, it's me, Jordy. I think I wrote part of this, but definitely Rem and Izzy came to me with the instrumental is already bopping and crazy and inspirational. I think Izzy and I had a conversation about what this song could be about. It was already called Dire Break, I think, inspired by the sound of these instrumentals.
Was it?
Yeah, I think you came with Dire Break, and I was like, oh, that sounds like die or break. Is there a way to, like, play with the title there? And he was like, yeah, sounds great, go for it. We talked a lot about burnout, because I think we were both feeling it with our job, and then finding a way to talk about burnout with a job, with a relationship, with whatever kind of, It's either. It's nebulous. It's all the, like, whatever. What else?
Yeah, this little, what we call the Power Rangers bit, was kind of written on the fly by Jake Izzy, and we just liked it, so we stuck with it. And it kind of became the hook of the song. But also, this song's inception partially came because I was like, I want to play drums for a song live. And you had been doing a good job with Everything's Fine, and so I was like, what if Jordan wrote a song? And so, yeah.
I remember you wanting to play drums because we had gone to see that Psychobilly band. Was it Coffin Cats? Yes. We saw Coffin Cats, and during one of their sets, their upright bassist and their guitarist just, like, in the middle of a song, swap instruments and keep playing, and we're like, holy shit, that's amazing. What if we did that? And we're doing our own version of that, where we sort of do a run around where everybody trades instruments.
Yeah, it's a lot harder to do with 6 people, but we figured it out, and it's also beneficial that we are all, like, or a lot of us are multi-instrumentalists, and so yeah, like this part here is our drummer Sam Gamma, but he's such a talented guitarist that we gave him the part, and it's awesome.
It's awesome. Drums aren't even his first instrument. It's crazy. Yeah, and you're killing it on drums. It's super fun to sing. This last part, I was scared of doing. Izzy was like, scream it! And I was like, okay. So back in the behind the vocals is me doing my best.
You're doing great.
Thanks, man. I think you were just like, think about people you like Harley Quinn, like Haley Williams. And I was like, okay, they don't scream sing, but let's go.
Do it, scream!
No.
Hi everyone, this is Jake Izzy, and you're listening to Easy Way Out by Qbomb. I wrote the lyrics and music to this song. There is a demo version where I'm also singing on it. I didn't know when I was writing the song exactly who would end up singing it, but in the final version, Rem does an amazing job on lead vocals.
Yeah, we tried both ways actually, because I wasn't sure who would be the best fit for it, and I just didn't think I was bringing enough emotion to it, and Rem did, so we got Rem on the track.
I still don't feel like I do this enough justice. Like it's not in my wheelhouse to sing softly like this. It came out great, and I love what Jake wrote, but boy.
Yeah, there's a bit of a vulnerability in this song that, for the most part, the vocalist is kind of front and center. It gets louder towards the end, but by that point, you're locked in. Now, I was approached by Gene and Rem to write a song that was sort of inspired by certain tracks by Gorillaz and Bright Eyes, and so I wanted to work together the sort of Bell Celeste sound with the electric organ, which comes out right around this point of the song.
I love this sound.
And thank you so much. One problem is it is a very strange time signature. I wanted to do something a little easier than Million AD. I did not get there with this track, but I think it makes it kind of interesting and offbeat. You don't even really notice it when it's happening, but it mostly, I think 5/4.
I don't know. We've tried to do the math.
7/15.
It's like 15/6 or something stupid.
Depends how you count it.
So it's
Thank you.
And like boy, as the vocalist, you don't notice just how like tough that is, but doing this on instruments, I've tried to like play this just out of curiosity, and man, it is hard to count.
It's another.
And then sorry.
It's another shout out for Gamma Sam for having to figure out the drum part for this and stick to it.
Good drums. Good drums are the soul of Qbomb.
It's the heartbeat. Yeah, this is the only bit that I think I contributed, where I felt like to make it a Qbomb song, we needed to have this really heavy breakdown.
We can hear you, Izzy, throughout the song, too. I think, is Jordy also...
I don't think Jordy is. I think it's just me doing...
You're just the ghost in the machine.
I am the ghost whispering in your ear. But yeah, this is another one that took some figuring out how to play live, but... It rips. It's also one that's not always easy to fit into a set list, but it's a lot of fun. to play.
I just want to point out this guitar solo by Ari Atomic. He helped push it a lot further than the demo version that I had written, because I'm not a guitarist, I'm a pianist, so I'm playing piano guitar, but I really love the triplets and the flourish at the
Ari
end.
is amazing at bridging that gap. Like I never write anything to be a guitar line, but he'll find a way to like push that into the correct like place.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really good at also taking some of the synthesizer arpeggiated noises and turning them into guitar licks, and that's really fun to watch him play.
Yeah. It's a different kind of song. It's not our usual fare, but I heard Jake's demo, and I loved it, and I was like, we gotta get this shit in there. It rips.
I'm really glad it's on the album. If you made it this far, you're a true blue Qbomb fan.
It's true! Whoa, baby, we got Cracker Shock. We're getting close to the end of the album. This is a pretty early one. It's the heaviest song, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think this is the first one we did after the original EP.
Yeah. I think Cracker Shock was, because, there's a bit of like a, can we keep doing this kind of thing? And I think after the first 3, I was like, man, I don't know. I think that was it. And then I think that's all we have. But then this was like, oh no, we got a lot more to say.
Yeah, like we split into 2 parts with this one. Like we Izzy and I got together and started writing this one on our own. And then we had another one going, which was Everything Is Fine, where we kind of wrote it in the room with everybody, and then took it and did our, processing of it.
Yeah. A very socio-politically charged song, but I don't know if people have picked up on, but I don't want to speak to it any more than that. It was written at a very difficult time in America, and yeah, it's a response to a lot of arguments that were had with people online, with family members, with anybody. And so I don't like writing political songs that are a response to direct events, because it dates it immediately. But I think the energy behind this is just as relevant now, and probably will be 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah, one would hope. It's pretty ubiquitous, the feelings that you get out of this. What are you thinking? What did they put in your water? What is wrong with you to think this way?
Yeah.
And like I guess the pain you feel at somebody else's stupidity.
Oh god, yeah, 100%. This is a sick ass breakdown. We love to go ballistic on this. Is there anything musically that you want to point out?
Yeah, this one also has like a big change in like the chiptune that inspired it.
Yeah.
It was a very early written like
That's right.
melody line. This is pretty much where grind bass came from.
Yeah.
Like the idea of where we get the bass tone that gets pitched up to be a guitar.
It's true.
And it was very busy to the point where I couldn't actually learn it, so we ended up simplifying it, and it came out better because of it. But I still think about that line from time to time and think like, man, I kind of want to write something around what was changed. But I don't know. I like what we got instead, and if I never get around to that other one because it would be too similar, that's fine.
Yeah. Got some violins in here. We're getting really orchestral. This is our peak pretension right here. Yeah, we're very smart and talented. Blah, 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 blah. Overkiller! Overkiller is a exact opposite of Buzzkiller. Starts big, instruments fall away until you're left with nothing but guitar and vocals. It's also thematically the complete opposite, whereas Buzzkiller is sort of a build-up. It's hyping yourself up. It's a mission statement of Qbomb and what we want to do. And then Overkiller was written when I was just feeling like dookie about all my creative endeavors, and probably still. I mean, I think it's one of my favorite songs that I wrote lyrically, and you know, I think I did a good chunk of the music stuff too. But
this one's mostly you.
Yeah, but it's a tough one, man. It was actually like recording it was definitely an emotional experience. Trying to like pour as much of the angst that I was feeling at that time, but I think it wraps up the album nicely. You know. play a few shows. Maybe for a moment I won't feel so low. What do you guys think? Leave a comment. Give us a like. Subscribe to our channel. This has been the Pretentious edition of HYPERPUNK by Qbomb. I'm Izzy Deluxe.
I'm Rem, and we love you.
We love you all, Bomb Squad. See you at the next one!